It was one of those rare occasions when I found myself alone at home, only my thoughts for company. I'm Margaret, 64 years old, and I've lived in this quiet apartment for years. My children, Olivia and Daniel, are all grown up now and have their own families, and my husband Robert passed away a few years ago. I've grown accustomed to the solitude, though on nights like this, the silence feels almost too overwhelming. Feeling the weight of the day, I decided to take a long, hot shower to relax. The warmth of the water usually eased my tired muscles and calmed my racing mind. It had been one of those exhausting days, and I really needed a break. I undid my robe and stepped into the bathroom, the cool air touching my skin as I reached for the shower handle. But when I twisted it, I heard an odd sound, and the water didn't come on. I tried again, but nothing. The tap was broken. Perfect timing, I thought. I stood there for a moment, frustrated and unsure of what to do. My apartment is part of a small building, and like every resident, I had the contact number for the plumber. I took a deep breath, grabbed my phone, and dialed his number. "Hello?" came a deep, smooth voice on the other end. "Hi, this is Margaret from apartment 3B, I said, trying to stay calm. "The shower tap in my bathroom is broken. Can someone come to fix it?" There was a brief pause, then a response that took me by surprise. "Of course. I'll be right over to take a look. It won't be a problem. I'll be there in about 15 minutes. I sighed in relief. "Thank you. I'll be waiting." I ended the call and glanced back at the broken tap. I didn't know what had happened to it, but it didn't matter. I wasn't in the mood to deal with it. I felt better knowing a professional would handle it. As I waited, I paced around the living room. The hum of the heater and the ticking of the clock were all so familiar. Yet, as I glanced in the mirror, I felt a wave of self-consciousness. I was still in my robe, my hair tied up in a loose knot, and I couldn't help but feel a little frumpy. I hadn't had anyone in my life for so long, and the thought of a stranger entering my home made me anxious in a way I hadn't expected. A soft knock at the door made my heart flutter. I quickly adjusted my robe and opened the door to find a man standing in the hallway. He was tall, with dark hair and a friendly smile, holding a toolbox in one hand. He looked every bit the professional plumber, but there was something else about him, a warmth that immediately put me at ease. "Good evening, Mrs. Margaret," he said in his calm, soothing voice. "I'm Max, the plumber. I received your call." I nodded, trying not to seem flustered. "Thank you for coming so quickly." I let him in and led him to the bathroom. "It's just the shower tap," I explained, pointing to the sink. "I've tried everything, but it seems to be stuck." Max knelt in front of the faucet and started inspecting it carefully. His hands were strong, his movements sure as he began working on the tap. I found myself watching him, entranced by the way his fingers moved, by the way his posture adjusted as he fixed the problem. It stirred something inside me, and I quickly looked away, not wanting to be caught staring. My heart began to race, and I couldn't deny the warmth I felt building inside. It had been so long since I'd felt this way. So long since someone had made me feel alive, noticed. "It's a simple fix," Max said as he tightened a bolt. "It should be good as new in just a few minutes." I nodded, relieved. "Thanks, I appreciate it. You're quick." He smiled, lifting his eyes to meet mine. For a brief moment, there was a flicker of something, curiosity perhaps. But before I could think more on it, he returned to his work. His broad shoulders flexed as he moved, and I felt my cheeks heat. I couldn't deny it. There was something about him that made me feel a rush, something beyond just fixing a tap. As the minutes passed, I couldn't help but glance at him again, watching him focus on his task. His hands were steady and confident. I began to wonder what it would feel like for those hands to touch me, to feel his confidence extend to me. I shook the thought away, but the feelings were growing. I didn't want to admit it, but the ache in my chest was undeniable. When Max finished, he stood up and wiped his hands on a rag. "All done. It should work perfectly now." I nodded, trying to steady my breath. "Thank you. You've been a big help." "No problem," he said, offering a smile. His eyes lingered on me for a moment, and I sensed the air between us thickening. It wasn't just gratitude, but something unspoken, something more. "Well, I'll let you get back to your evening," he said as he packed up his tools. "Glad I could help." I stood there for a moment, unsure of what to say. There was an impulse to invite him to stay, but I didn't want to seem forward. "It's been too long since I've felt this way," I said without thinking. "Would you like to stay for a cup of tea?" I blurted out, surprising myself. "I'd love to thank you for coming tonight." Max paused, his eyes meeting mine. He didn't respond immediately, but there was something in his gaze, warmth, curiosity, that made my heart flutter. "I'd like that," he said softly, his smile growing. I led him into the living room, trying to act normal while my hands trembled slightly as I put the kettle on. Max sat on the couch, watching me as I moved around the kitchen. I felt so aware of my own breathing, of the charged air between us. The kettle whistled, and I poured the water into 2 cups, adding honey. I could feel his gaze on me, but I didn't dare look back. I set the cups down, and as I sat down, I felt a rush of nerves. "This is really nice," Max said as he took a sip of his tea. "Not every day I get to sit down after a job like this." I smiled, trying to hide my nerves. "I'm glad you like it." The silence between us stretched, but it didn't feel awkward. Instead, there was a palpable tension. I could feel it building and my heart raced. There was something about him, something that drew me in. Before I knew it, he stood up and closed the distance between us. My breath caught as his hand gently brushed my arm. It was a small touch, but it sent a jolt of electricity through me. "Margaret," he whispered, his voice soft but certain. "I can't deny what I'm feeling tonight. There's something about you that pulls me in." I looked up at him, my pulse pounding. The years of loneliness, the ache I had hidden, it all surfaced in that moment. I didn't know what to say, but when Max leaned in and closed the space between us, I didn't pull away. I didn't want to. His lips brushed against mine, tentative at first, but when I responded, the kiss deepened. It became more urgent, more filled with longing. When we pulled away, breathless, he whispered, "I've wanted this for so long. I wasn't sure if you felt the same." I smiled, a soft laugh escaping my lips. "I think I do now." Max chuckled, caressing my face. "I don't want this to end, Margaret." And just like that, in the quiet of my apartment, the years of loneliness melted away. Max stayed for a little longer, and as the evening deepened, the air between us became charged with unspoken words. We sat in the soft glow of the living room light, sipping our tea. The silence no longer felt awkward. It felt filled with something deep and real. I had always believed passion and love belonged to the young, but as Max's gaze met mine, I realized how wrong I had been. The way he made me feel, seen, truly seen, was more than I had ever expected. "I never thought I'd be here with someone like you," I said softly, my voice trembling. "I've been on my own for so long. I didn't think I'd ever feel this again." Max took my hand in his. His grip was firm, yet tender, like he was handling something precious. "Sometimes the best things come when we least expect them," he whispered. "I'm so glad I found you tonight." I closed my eyes, savoring his touch. In all my years of solitude, I had convinced myself that intimacy like this was behind me. But Max had proven me wrong. The longing I had buried for so long had returned. He leaned in slowly as if asking for permission, and I met him halfway. This kiss was deeper, more desperate. Neither of us could deny what was happening between us. My hands moved to his chest, feeling the steady beat of his heart. Max's hands slipped around my waist, pulling me closer. His lips tasted mine with tenderness that made my breath catch. When we finally pulled away, breathless, his forehead rested against mine, and for a moment, we simply breathed together. "I can't tell you how much I've wanted this, Margaret," he murmured. "You make me feel like I'm young again, like everything matters." I smiled, my heart swelling. "You've brought something back to life in me, Max. I didn't even know I was missing it." His thumb brushed my cheek, and I saw the admiration in his eyes. "We're never too old to feel this way, Margaret, to feel alive, to feel wanted." As the night passed, the hours seemed to melt away. We talked about the years gone by, our memories, and the things we still wanted to experience. The conversation was easy, as though we had known each other far longer than just a few hours. I had always believed that love was a thing of youth, but here I was, in my 60s, feeling emotions I hadn't felt in years. With Max, everything felt fresh and new. As the night wore on, the conversation between Max and me flowed effortlessly. We shared our hopes and dreams, the things we had experienced, and the things we still wanted to do. It was clear that we both cherished the time we spent together, and for the first time in a long time, I didn't feel alone. It was as though the years of isolation had finally faded, replaced by a deep connection, something real and true. It was well past midnight when Max stood up, his voice soft but sincere. "I should let you get some rest," he said, his expression showing a mix of reluctance and affection. "But I don't want to go just yet." I stood up with him, knowing the night had to come to an end, but I couldn't help but feel a tinge of sadness at the thought of him leaving. "I don't want you to go either, Max," I replied, my voice a little more wistful than I intended. Maybe we can do this again?" His face lit up at my words, and he took my hand, pressing it to his chest as if to reassure me. "I'd love that, Margaret," he said, his smile warm and genuine. "I'm not sure what this is, but I want to see where it goes." We stood there, just holding hands, neither of us ready to break the connection. In that moment, it felt like nothing else mattered, just the two of us. The world outside didn't exist. There was only the space between us, charged with something powerful and undeniable. Max leaned down, and this time, the kiss was gentle, almost reverent. His lips brushed mine softly, sending a shiver of warmth through me. It was a kiss that promised more than just this moment, more than just tonight. It felt like the beginning of something beautiful, something that had the potential to change everything. The next morning, I woke up to the soft rays of sunlight streaming through the blinds. The events of the previous night were still fresh in my mind, like a dream that I didn't want to end. I felt different, alive in a way I hadn't in years. The emptiness that had once clung to me seemed to have lifted, replaced by something new, something full of hope. I made my way to the kitchen to prepare my morning tea. As I moved through my usual routine, my thoughts kept returning to Max. I couldn't stop smiling, remembering the way he had looked at me, the way his kiss had made me feel. Everything about him had made me feel cherished, wanted, and seen. It was a feeling I hadn't experienced in such a long time, and it was both exhilarating and comforting. There was a knock on the door, and my heart skipped a beat. I wasn't expecting anyone at this hour, but when I opened the door, there he was, Max, standing with a bright smile as though he hadn't left at all. "Good morning," he said softly, stepping inside without waiting for an invitation. "I couldn't stop thinking about you. I wanted to see if you were okay." I couldn't help but smile at the sight of him. Of course I'm okay. How could I not be after last night? He reached out and pulled me into his arms. I melted against him, feeling safe, loved, and completely content in a way I hadn't in years. "I think we're both okay, Margaret," he whispered, "and I think we're both just getting started." I laughed softly, feeling lighter than I had in so long. I kissed him again, and this time the kiss was full of promise. It wasn't just a kiss between two people. It was a kiss that spoke of everything we had yet to explore together, of the future we could build. As we stood there, wrapped in each other's arms, I felt a profound sense of gratitude. I had never imagined that I would find love again, especially not after all these years. But here it was, in the form of Max, a man who had entered my life unexpectedly and made me feel alive again. Over the next few weeks, Max and I spent more and more time together. Each day, I found myself falling deeper for him, and I could feel him falling for me as well. We talked, laughed, shared our dreams, and simply enjoyed being in each other's company. The age difference between us didn't matter. What mattered was the connection we had forged, the bond that had grown stronger with each passing day. Our relationship, though unconventional to some, was everything I had ever wanted. Max wasn't just a lover. He was my best friend, my confidant, my companion. He made me feel valued, beautiful, and cherished, and I did the same for him. The age gap between us was irrelevant. What mattered was how we made each other feel, alive, wanted, and full of love. One evening, as we sat together on the couch, sharing a quiet moment, Max looked at me with those soft, loving eyes of his. "Do you ever think about the future?" he asked, his voice filled with hope. I smiled, feeling at peace for the first time in many years. "Every day," I said, my voice calm and content, "and I like what I see." Max took my hand, his thumb gently brushing against my skin. "Me too, Margaret. Me too." In that moment, I knew that no matter what came next, we would face it together. Because sometimes, love comes when you least expect it. And when it does, it fills your life in ways you never thought possible.